Good afternoon all. Welcome you all to the second day of pre-job week workshop, which is titled as Survey123 for effective field data collection. Under that, we are going to discuss two areas as time-saving applications for mobile-based data collection. Second, Survey123 from design and configuration workflow. Before that, I would like to invite Mrs. Ashani Jayasinghe, CEO of GIS Solutions Private Limited, to address the audience.
Good afternoon, everybody, and on behalf of GIS Solutions, I'd like to congratulate the organizing committee for taking this initiative and organizing Geo Week 2021. GIS Solutions is proud to be a part of it, and as the sole authorized distributor for the world's largest GIS software provider, ESRI, which is the acronym for Environmental Systems Research Institute, we are proud to support initiatives such as these that will enhance the knowledge and the ability to use GIS in people for everyday life. And I think this is a very timely event because it is proven that GIS or Geographical Information Systems are a key factor in addressing some of the local as well as global challenges that we face. So I think more and more the GIS profession will be more recognized, and as is, it's a high demand profession for migration and in defense and other areas, especially in countries like Australia. So I think for the university students who are pursuing GIS, I congratulate them on their choice, and we are here as GIS Solutions to support your initiatives. So do reach out to us. You can always reach out to us on info@gislk.com should you have any challenges or requirements in your GIS education. We are also proud to say that GIS Solutions is probably the only, if not the most involved organization in the higher education sector for GIS technology. We have supported almost all the universities who do GIS teaching and coursework and programs of study. So we are really delighted as a part of our corporate values to empower the higher education community, and we do that through many initiatives. We have our own training programs that we provide both online and on site, and especially for students we have very attractive incentive schemes, and even offer scholarship for very promising students to study our GIS software courses that we locally conduct. Also, we provide for universities discounted software at a very attractive rate. So the university administrators who are out there can reach out to us, because we firmly believe that the higher education sector needs to be empowered for the future through GIS, and that is something that we have always been working on. So there are special academic departmental software agreements where we empower GIS teaching faculties with software and any technical support or educational or training support that's needed, and also empower programs. Annually, we have a worldwide, our principal ESRI, who is the developer of the software ArcGIS, Arcgis Platform. They have an annual software conference which you can partake as a student or as a GIS professional, and learn from peers from the rest of the world, other GIS peers, on what is new, what is happening, how are they using the ArcGIS technology platform to address their professional and national challenges. So I invite all of you all to take part in this annual conference, the Global S3 User Conference, and benefit as well. It's usually held in July, usually the first or second week of July. The dates are always announced. If you need more information, you can always reach out to us, and we are happy to support, and we are happy that the Sabaragamu University is already using our technology in 3 faculties. I believe, I could be wrong. We have various programs that are going on which assist universities to GIS enable themselves, and we are, like I said, I would like to conclude. I don't want to go on as the most how would I say, experienced and most supported commercial GIS software platform in Sri Lanka. We want to be part of the national development through your support in GIS works. And we also want to say thank you to the organizing committee for considering us and helping us to be a part of this. And we look forward to supporting your GIS works. Do reach out to us. We have an excellent team that will attend to your GIS needs. You can email us on info, that's info, info@gislk.com, and we will support in whatever way we can. There are lots of opportunities for students to take part in various competitions that are global competitions held annually or biannually. For example, there is a story map competition which we encourage local GIS users to participate. Story maps are great tools to present your research and your GIS work findings in a very clear, precise, attractive manner. My 2 colleagues who will be conducting the sessions, Supun and Samanmali, will show some of the work that's possible from the platform. You will find ArcGIS to be the most user-friendly platform and the most supported platform. I mean, if you want to learn the platform, there are numerous opportunities apart from the local training we conduct. There is online trainings, there is a lot of online courses which you can follow for free. So there is a lot that you can do to enhance your GIS skills by associating yourself with ArcGIS. And we are happy to support and wish the conference all the very best and happy learnings to you. Thank you. I'm Ashani Jaisinghe, CEO for GIS Solutions.
Thank you, dear madam. So with that, now it's time to hand over the session to GIS Solution Private Limited to address the audience. So over to you.
maju.
Okay. Hope you all can see my screen, the slides, the field data collection using Arcgis Survey123. So we are going to learn a tool, kind of a mobile-based survey forms related to this particular survey forms using the Survey123 technology. Okay. Can you all of you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay. So last session, actually, we learned about certain things related to the Arcgis platform. So, there's a concept called web portal. So the web portal means something with the centralized information. So that means we can have a centralized repository or the centralized storage to have data. When you are collecting data, it can store all the data. So here in this ArcGIS, we normally use the desktop platform. That means ArcMap. Nowadays you are having another software called ArcGIS Pro. So this component is the prominent for most Sri Lankans. They are using heavily this component. But when it comes to other things like WebGIS components and also the mobile GIS components, we can do various other things. One example is from different devices. So imagine you are having, you all have smartphones, tablets, kind of mobile devices. So from that kind of a device, you can collect information with the geographic coordinates. Then you can submit that into the centralized web portal. So there are different types of apps for doing this purpose, and also there are kind of survey forms. And not only for the smartphones, even kind of GPS receivers, which are running with Android kind of operating systems, they can support these facilities. Then it will allow them to collect high accurate data. So it is not only for mobiles. If there are devices with the Android versions or any other supported versions software, then those things can be used in the field to collect data. And centralized database will be populated with that data collection. So this is the platform capability. So we are having two models to do this type of data collection. One model we call in-house or on-premises model, ArcGIS Enterprise. So that is kind of a WebGIS implementation, can be deployed in-house or the on-premises. The other method is without having the on-premises, we can have everything in the cloud mode. So the last session we discussed about that mode. Everything is on the cloud. We have to just create an account and work with this facilities there. So in-house method, then why there's another method, cloud-based method. The reason is some organizations, I mentioned that day, some organizations, they wanted to have their data in in-house environment. Their policy is aligned with that. And some organizations are going into the other model because they want to minimize the in-house investments. So likewise, based on the requirements, there can be different types of WebGIS deployment and also a centralized GIS deployment. Right. So quick deployable data collection apps and smartphones. Why this is required? Quick deployable. The reason is with a limited time, there are requirements to collect data. For example, like a disaster situation. So disaster situation, we don't have much time. We are having limited time. But a limited time frame, we should be able to design a questionnaire or form. Then we should be able to collect information and get the required information out of that. So for that kind of purposes, there are different apps and smart forms kind of applications. So what are these apps? So when it comes to all Arcgis platform, there are several mobile apps. If I start from the traditional ones, there's one called Explorer. It can be used to visualize data. That means any web map, if you want to share to an app, the Explorer can be used. That's one application. Then there's another one called Collector. Actually, that is for collecting data, collecting point line polygonal data. Then one of the prominent applications here called Survey123 that can be used to collect locations, and it is like more like a questionnaire form. It's like a questionnaire, a smart form, and you can collect data. Then there are some other mobile apps also. There's one called Quick Capture, which can quickly capture features like photos and kind of quick capturing options. And there's another one called Tracker to track the field workforce. And workforce means, again, the managing component for the field workforce. Imagine you have deployed 100 field workers, then workforce can identify those 100 and assign tasks for them. Navigator means kind of a direction app for identifying directions. And also sometimes these applications can work together, like in a combined manner. Right. Okay. So one of the latest applications in the platform we called Arcgis Field Maps. It is similar to a data collector. So we can download this from the different app stores, and then we can sign in and work. So for these purposes, there should be a web map with editing capabilities. Then there's another one called Quick Capture. So Quick Capture is for simple users. That means people who can't fill a large form, they can just tap a small picture or kind of a button. Then they will collect several information at once, like location, photograph, kind of several fields together. So that is for like simple users. But today we are going to discuss something we can use for simple data collection work as well as kind of complex questionnaire-based data collection work. So it's containing a mobile app called Survey123 and also kind of smart forms, kind of web-related forms which we can collect information. Right. So before going into that, I would like to show you a sample. Then you will realize the behavior of that particular application. Right. So give me a second. Okay. So what is the purpose of having this particular application? So this 1, 2, 3, the meaning of 1, 2, 3 means that ask questions, then get the answers, make the best decisions. So this is the meaning of 1, 2, 3. Then the objective is to create certain forms like paper based forms inside in a digital environment. So traditionally we are using paper-based methods to collect data. And after that, we are entering that information again to a digital platform. So using this type of tools, we are trying to reduce the data entry operations or the data entry time. So this can be applied for certain questionnaires, and also we have to remember sometimes the certain paper-based questionnaires are also important because of the complexity of the work. So it's based on the requirement. If the form can be used in the mobile app, so sometimes the same way we may not be able to design it. Maybe there are differences, but ultimately we should be able to get the same answers from the questionnaires. So that should be the goal. So one advantage is having this type of tool. If we are using a paper-based form, we have to write down everything. Then after that, there should be a data entry operator to enter the data. And ultimately, you will find a database or the data table with the data entries. So then this type of tool will help us to minimize this data entry work. Because from the digital form, we can do certain level of data entries. We can have drop downs. We can have various types of collection methods. Then it will populate the table. So data entry operations we can minimize. Okay, let's see. Okay, so can you see something like this? Okay. So here you can see, first I would like to sign out from here, then I will start from the beginning. So it is like this. So when it comes to the Survey123 web or the mobile app, it's this type of application. So the primary objective when we are using this, we have to sign in to a particular account of Arcgis Online or Arcgis Enterprise. So without signing also, we can have survey forms. There are public survey forms. That means without signing into this kind of application, a link can be used and directly you will have a form, then you can access this. So we will try to sign in first. So you can enter a username and password. Then you will find different forms. So here I have some forms created by certain purposes which we have created. So I will select one form. Then it will have something like this, collect. So it can collect information. So when you click on this, it will load the survey form. So this is a demo form which we have created for certain demonstrations. So there can be questions like this. some questions you can have the date and time. So any date related question or the time related question can be given, then it will have kind of a date picker. So we call this type of component a picker, date picker. And also if required, you can give kind of a formula or kind of a command to detect the submitting date. That means it will automatically detect the submitting date. That is also possible. So without picking the date, it will automatically detect the date. Then we can have different questions like this. One question type, we can use a drop down. So we can have a drop down like this. So here you can see various values. So I will select one like Western Province. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I have selected a one drop down, one answer from the drop down list. Then what can we do here? We can go to the second question. Then what will happen? First question has filtered the second question. So you are not getting a huge list now. You are only getting the filtered list. So these things can be configured at the design stage of the form. Then again it can be filtered like this way. And if you have local authorities, then again we can select these local authority names. So likewise, we can filter data according to a particular district, province kind of a hierarchy. So the advantage of having this type of filtering, if you are writing down the questions, answers in a paper form, sometimes you may accidentally put some wrong data. But this kind of method, we can have filtered information. Then automatically the database will capture only the required data. Then there are different text types. Sometimes we can have like this way, we can have some kind of text data entering methods. So I will put a name here. Then the address. So when you have so much of text entering data in actual situation in a field, sometimes it is difficult. So in this case, we will put something like this, right? Then the other types. So here you can see something has grouped the other questions. So this is called a group. So we can have groups within a form to collect information. Within a form, we can have a group to collect information. So here you can see a group. Then in this group, you will find, I will select this drop down, another drop down. So you can see some thumbnail pictures, and also you can select multiple choices. So in questionnaire, we have multiple choice questions. The same thing here, we can select multiple choices from a particular list, like this. So it can be used in the database, maybe using a code, or maybe using a kind of a name. But when we are using codes, it will reduce the storage. Then the numerical questions, like maybe number. So you can't type any text here. If you try to type any text, it won't insert that. So if you type numbers only, it will take. So I will put something like this. And also another numeric one, we can have integer values because these patients, the locations, these things are kind of not decimal places. We are not having any decimals, it's integer values. Then we can have the integer fields there. Then if we want to have kind of a scale or kind of a comparison or a level, so you can have this type of maybe single choice question. So we can say hi. For at a particular period time, we can only select one type. That means a single choice question. We cannot select multiple here. So the database will only capture this value. The other values will not capture. So that way we can maintain certain qualities. Then you will find the most important part for a GIS user. That is the GPS location or the location of your data. So it will detect based on your device, it can detect your GPS location. Then with the location, we can also select a photograph, or we can capture a photo. Maybe from the device, you can capture a photo. Here it is detecting the laptop, but if you are using a mobile device, then it will detect your camera. Then you can capture picture here. And also the multi-lines, maybe a kind of comment or kind of maybe a kind of answer for an open-ended question. You can place it here or you can type it here and put some information. And even the modern things like digital signatures kind of things can be attached with the information. Then this form can be submitted. For the at the bottom, you will find something called submit button or like icon like this. Then it will ask, do you want to send that now or save it in the outbooks or continue the survey? So there are three options. Send now means immediately you can send it to a centralized place or the centralized database. So continue the survey means you have to continue without sending it. Save in the outbox mean when we are working in an offline environment. So this form, this technology can be used in online method as well as offline method. So when we are using this in the offline method, we have to save that in a local file. So then we are saving in the outbox environment. So after saving that, if you have internet connectivity or if you can connect with the head office or the servers, then what you can do, we can synchronize the data. So that means offline it can be taken and saved. So if you want to save it, you can say send now, then it will try to send that information to the centralized system. Right. So that is kind of a mechanism, and you can identify the sent information, the sent details here and there, right? So if you have many information, it will list down what are the things you have sent. So you can view it. You can view the sent information. Without editing, you can view it again, right? And also this one, this particular mobile app, so it can have many questionnaires. not only a single questionnaire. People can download surveys which has been published by an organization. They can list down different surveys like this. So there are different surveys. So you can have multiple forms, not only the same form, right? So that means maybe depending on your surveys, you may have different questionnaires. So based on those questionnaires, we can download and work with that data. So we have created some forms for organizations. Actually, certain forms, this technology we learned because of the certain assignments given from different organizations. So those organizations actually given us some questionnaires. So we tried to design them. And some of the organizations are now using certain questionnaires. Some of the organizations not using. So this is one which we have done as an assignment. So here you can see the Word document questionnaire converted as a task just to demonstrate the capability. We use this. So even in a local language, the forms can be designed. So the date can be picked out, and also, if possible, we can type that information, maybe even in Sinhala, but normally it is sometimes difficult to type in Sinhala. Then you go down, so you will have several drop downs like this. Like this way, we can select the drop downs. So there's an interesting one here. If you say certain information here. So if you say there's an option here, the availability of the water. If you said yes, it will pop up a hidden question. It will pop up a hidden question, right? So if you say no, then it won't come. So in a paper-based questionnaire, we can't have that facility. So even we say yes, sometime if we say no, we might write down anything. Sometimes accidentally we are writing down wrong information. So a digital form like this can control that, like using a kind of a constraint. Then it will stop or it will allow us to put information here. But if you said no, it won't allow anything, right? So again, if you said yes, this one, then it will give us some sources. But if you say no, nothing will appear. So it's another ability which we can try there. So likewise, there can be many questionnaires you can download. I just used some of the old questionnaires, and some organizations actually work with us, and there are live users now also. So we will take them later. So I will take another questionnaire. So same organization, but different forms. So here you can see another form. In this case, you can see date has been automatically picked. We don't need to do anything, date has been picked. The reason is there's a condition saying to get the default date. Then again, you can see the province, these drop downs, districts, DS divisions. So filtering as a choice field. Then if required, you can type anything. Then GPS will be detected. And also there's a background map. Here you are looking at OpenStreetMap. So when you are using a background map, we can compare that our location, the accuracy of our location. So maybe sometimes when we are using mobile kind of devices, maybe there are sometimes deviations. So we can check whether our location is correct by using a background map. Or you can have your own customized background map. So for example, imagine you are working in an organization, you are having your own road layer, or you are having your own GN boundary layer. We can have that as a base map. Without having the default one, we can have our own base map to get the idea, right? So imagine you are doing a field inspection, say like Water Board or any other organizations who are involved in the inspection work. They need their existing assets layers. So then that can be loaded as a background map. So we can identify the existing assets. People can inspect that and put the information. So that kind of background maps can be used. Then here you can see some information about people. You can say 1, 2. I'm just filling some information, right? So like this way, we can fill certain columns, right? Then here you can see something is happening. So the total is automatically calculating. So when we are designing the form, we can put some formulas, not very complex coding. Here we are not doing any kind of very complex coding, just giving formulas like you are typing in the Excel. When we do such work, what we can have, we can get certain calculations when we are entering the data. So this is just adding these columns, four columns, the total of that, but you can have different types of operators. Then so likewise these single choices, some requirements, yes. So like earlier we can have photos and things like that. So this is the capability, and also we can have different designs, background design, things like that. So this is the capability of Survey123 mobile form. And also you will find this button here. Here there's a button like a satellite. When you click on this button, it will give us the information about our signals, or the when we are receiving signals, it will give us some indications about those things, right? That information is available. Certain accuracy levels also it will list down. So I'm in the in-house environment, so I will have a level of accuracy, even I'm using a laptop. But based on your device, you will find the accuracy level. And this application can be connected with the external GPS receiver. That means to improve the accuracy. So like if you have heard about the differential GPS, like the same way it can be used by connecting with an external antenna, a receiver. And it can give better accuracy when we are using it in a device. Okay, so these things are available with this application. So anyone can download this particular application. There are some other things also. Right. Later on, we can discuss those things. Right. Okay. So before going into the other things, so if you have any questions, you can ask now. Okay, I will go back to the slides. Right. So we discussed about certain advantages. We can have, we can improve the data quality. So, which I have demonstrated here. When we have a filter, we can have several filters together to reduce the certain errors. So sometimes imagine if you're having a drop down just saying Western Province and there's another drop down listing all the districts, definitely people will select any number and it will give an error. So it should be controlled. And also the logical conditions. Like I mentioned in that form, if you said yes, then second question will appear. If you said no, the question will not appear. Then there's no way to enter that question or the enter data into the when the status is no. So that way the data quality can be improved. Then so we have I have actually demonstrated the form. Actually the initial task was like this type of a paper form. So the paper form we just converted into this type of mobile form. So how to do this process? So actually this one, this particular application can be accessed through Arcgis online web portal or Arcgis Enterprise, two different web portals. So there's an app launcher in this platform. Inside this app launcher, you will find a page called Survey123. So this is the initial point to access this particular platform. Then there are several options to create surveys. There are simple options and also advanced options. Simple option, you will have a basic web form. That means it's like just a form loaded in a web browser. So you can have certain question types and collect data. The second option, we can have certain templates and take the template and quickly work. So this first option is very fast. You can quickly design the questionnaire. Today also we will try to design one, then we can deploy it. Second option, again it's easy. Using a template, we can load and change the elements. Third option, we need to have a small software. So that is called a Survey123 Connect. There's a small software. Using that software, we have to design the questionnaire. But for designing purpose, we use Microsoft Excel or even different types of spreadsheet software just to design the whole questionnaire. So you don't need to have very complex environment. Just using Excel sheet, you can design your questionnaire. The forms which I have demonstrated, all designed from that Excel sheet, nothing else. So that is the third option. Okay, the first option, it will be like this. It will load this type of form, right? This type of form, a kind of an environment. So we can add question by question and design the form. Right. So then the third option, we will have this type of software which we can use to collect information, Right. So we will discuss on those things later on. So first, we'll try to create a particular form. Right. So I will minimize this first. I'll share my browser. So here we are having kind of a web portal. So I told you at the last session, even you can try this. There's an account called Learn Arcgis. That type of account, you can try these things. Learn Arcgis, right? So this Learn Arcgis, you can try this account or this facility using creating a trial account, right? So I will send that, right? So there are different options is this Learn Arcgis trial. You can see Arcgis Survey123. Even you can download the Survey123 mobile app, and also the other options, the optional software platforms also, right? Okay. So what I will do here, so first I would like to share you the link, and you will try that and try that. Give me a second. So I will copy that again for you. So you can try there. You only need to have a valid email. So when you enter your details, I think I have missed a letter here. Okay. Take the second link, right? Don't take the first link, right? Okay. So it's like this, right? So you can try this facility. There are education trials. You can enter your first name, last name. You should have a valid email, right? Valid email. Then at the end, you have to submit. Then you will receive an email with a link. There you have to specify a username. Actually, username will be there. You have to reset the password, or you have to enter a password. Then you will have a similar account like my one. Okay, that is the process of creating a trial in Arcgis Online. It is not very difficult thing. But the organizations who are having the new Arcgis software, for example, a university, maybe having like the 50 license of Arcgis software, they are having this facility in their Arcgis Online account. Actually, they are having 50 logins with that. And also certain organizations, like there are organizations in Sri Lanka who are having updated Arcgis desktops. They are also having a free account of this particular platform. So some organizations in Sri Lanka, they are using that free account and having WebGIS systems without any additional cost. So like that way. Okay. So what you can do here, here there's the app launcher. This is the app launcher. So when you click app launcher, there are plenty of applications. One of the applications we can load here, this one, Survey123. So it will load different forms. So here you can see certain forms used in our organization. So this is the initial page. So first thing here, we have to create a new survey. We can click a new survey, and there are three options. I mentioned this earlier. So I will use the basic option. Then it will create a design environment. So imagine maybe you need to collect some information, maybe a kind of a requirement, maybe disaster has happened. You need to get some information from the field level. So imagine you are having limited time. So you want to design something, some kind of a form to get some details from the field. Right. So we'll try to design a questionnaire here. Right. So I have a Word document here. I have just typed a small Word document. I will also share that with you. So it contains some forms, some kind of some questions, simple questions, but you can always type those things, right, without using it. So I will share that into the chat window. You can also try with me. Let's see. So I will share the form. Some questions are there. You can always design your own questions, right? No need to. And also there's a list of some districts, right, in an Excel. So I would like to share them first. Okay. Okay, this is a simple list. Just I typed here. Imagine we want to collect some information, maybe the basic requirement survey from the field, right? So kind of a requirement survey. So we'll try to use these things and create some questions, right? So I will go back to browser. Okay. So first thing, you can have a name for your survey, right? You can have a name for your survey. I can use a name like this, requirement survey, basic requirement survey. So imagine you are going to send this survey, not for the public, maybe kind of a field officer, right? So can you see this design environment, the green color environment? Yeah. Right, good. So first question, the first thing, when you click on this design, this here and there, these things, when you click on these things, actually the right hand side, you will find the settings page. So left hand, right hand combination. When you click something in the left hand side, you will find the settings of that. So first thing, the title of this survey. Survey title is not set. So we can use maybe a similar title like this. So I will try to use the same thing here. The right hand side, there's a box. We can paste it or you can type it there. Then you can actually align them, maybe center line, left align, right align. You can have an alignment. And also, when you are designing this survey, you can save it. You have to save it. Time to time you have to save it, otherwise you can't apply these settings. Then the description. So if required, you can have a description, or what you can do, there are more settings here. You can turn off certain things, like we can turn off this description, right? So there are some other tabs. Here there are 4 tabs: add, edit, appearance, options. So add tab, we can add questions. Other tabs we can do various settings. Again, I will go to the add. So we have to have the date. So what we can do here, we can take this date, this question, and drag and drop it here. And also you can type date of survey or date of submission, anything related to the date, right? So this is the question. Then here you can see the settings. So there's an option here saying you can get you can do something like this. So if necessary, if it is a required question, you can take something like this, put something like a mandatory question. So then it will have red color star. Then it becomes a mandatory question. Without that, you can't submit. It will become a mandatory question. Then also, you can use certain other things like a default value. Default value, that means a date, a default date. So you can specify a default date, or you can use the submitting date. It will detect the system date like this way. Then that question is fine. We can add another one. Then the second one I have the district. So district here, I want to have a drop down to represent the districts. So there's an option here called drop down. We can have this drop down. And also we can type at the right hand side district name. Right. So then you will find choice 1, choice 2, choice 3. Likewise, if required, you can type Colombo. Choice 1, then choice 2. Likewise, we can type. So I will just save it. And we can have a preview. We can just have a preview and see whether it is okay, right? So after finishing the questionnaire, you can have the preview. Otherwise, you can just check. So here you can see Colombo, choice 1, choice 2, right? That way it will appear. So in a mobile device, it will appear like this way, right? So you can just check the appearance of the question. There are preview options. Here you can see these PC, mobile tab, kind of different views to preview your questioning. Okay, so I have closed the preview. So we need to have a list better than that. So I have just shared you a district list. So like this, there are some districts. Let's try whether we can copy these things, right? Required, you can have a better order of that. So instead of entering one by one, so there's an option here called batch edit. batch edit where we can try to paste many values like this way. Then we can click and see whether it is okay. So now you can see several districts, and also we have to check whether we are having unwanted values. We can save it. And let's check the preview. Okay, so now we are having a drop down with many values, right? Look. So I will close the preview here. Then I'm going to add some more questionnaires, some more questions. So likewise, if you are having a questionnaire, you can try this. So I will use another question, place name. Okay, that will be kind of a text question. So we need to enter some text values, right? So here there are different options. I will use single text. So here you can see when you drag the question from this end, you can place it in different places. So we will put it here. We can say place name or the name of the place, something like this. Then I want to have the requirement. So imagine the field officer is surveying in an area. They want to identify the requirements of the people. For this kind of thing, I would like to use this type of question, like multiple choice. Multiple choice. So we can drag and drop. So here we can say requirements. So we can take the requirements, food, water, shelter, or we can just type these things, right? Food, water, shelter. So if you have any other requirements, we can allow other option. There's option called other. We can allow that, right? Then it will be like this. So now we have few questions. Then maybe we need to have kind of number of people in a particular place. That type of question we have to use maybe a numerical field. So we'll use this number. So this is not difficult. I think anyone can, when you understand the pattern, you can easily configure it without any trouble. Then also, so as GIS users, we always want to collect the coordinates, right? For that requirement, what we can do, we can add a questionnaire, question here, the question with a map. So we can add this map like this way. So it's a little bit different, right? So it will have a map like this, a default map. So you can collect point data or line data or even polygonal data. The three geometries are supported here. So in this case, we will select point. And then we, in the right-hand side, we can actually zoom into the preferred location, right? We can zoom in here. Maybe in Sri Lanka. Maybe also you can change the background map. So here there's a default map. Without having this, we can have something like this, maybe some kind of a satellite image related map, background map, or even a map like maybe OpenStreetMap, like this. Right. Okay. Whatever the map you can try. So I will keep this OpenStreet one. Right. So now we are having that question. In some cases, there's an option for automatically detect the XY coordinate. We can enable those formulas in advanced forms, even automatically detect the GPS coordinate. That is possible. So then we will add some other questions like image. So we can add an image here. Maybe we can add something like this, maybe some more information. If somebody wants to have more details, so we can have kind of a multi-line text. Details or comments, you can add like this. And also maybe a photo. If required, you can have a photo here. Like this. Image or photo, you can have there. And also maybe if there's a field officer who is verifying this information, maybe you can add the digital signature, or even without that, we can have this, right? So there are questions like this. And have a signature at the bottom. Right, like this way. So we are having kind of a form now. So there are many types, many other types also. You can add time, and also you can have something like this, the kind of a scale like Likert. So here you can have a scale. So you can say status. I just putting some names, right? You can say high, moderate, low. Right. So likewise, we can have kind of scales like questions. We can save. Now we have kind of a form. Then you can do something like this. This appearance tab, you can change the appearance, certain colors, right? You can change the colors like this way, or there are some themes. And if you want, you can customize it more. There are custom colors. You can change the colors like this way, right? Right? Okay. Right. So here, imagine this question is a required one. So later on also you can say this is a kind of a required question, right? This is a required question. So they have to specify that. Even this one requirement may be a, we need to identify the requirement. So we can have kind of a required question. Okay, I would like to save everything. So limited time, we have only used maybe 10 minutes now, right? So we have changed the appearance. There are options. We can say when we are submitting the form, we can think about having a different icon or different information after the submission. You can alter those things using these tabs, right? Okay. Then, right. So even this button submit, if required, you can change that name, right? Okay. Then what we will do here, we will have a preview of the whole thing. Right? We can select, can check whether they are working, right? So this is a required one. Definitely we have to select. If you say other, we have to type something. So you can check the questionnaire. We can check whether the GPS is working or not. Yes, I think in my case, it has detected my Wi-Fi router, right? So if required, we can have different base maps. So here the base map is OpenStreetMap. Right? Right? Okay. So you can see the signature, it's working. This working. So you can just have a preview. Close this. As the final step, we have to publish it. So it will give us some information, and we can check the schema of the data. Schema means even we type data with the different space columns, the field name will be created according to the theories or according to the structure of the data model, right? So those things you can double check, or even you can do editings. So if you don't require 255 characters, you can reduce them and optimize your storage. So after checking everything, what you can do, you can publish this form. So at the background, what it will do, it will create a service. We call that a feature service. It's a web-based service. It will be created in the backend. So it can be edited. That's why when you enter data, each and every time it will be populated. The database will be populated. And again, it will have relationships, not just a single table. There can be many tables. For example, we have the multiple choice questions. Sometimes it cannot be stored in the same place. So there are sometimes additional tables. When we try the group options, repeat options, it will have this page. Right. So now we have done the design and we have already published, right? Then there's a tab called Collaborate. This tab, what we can do, we can actually share a link of this survey. So there are several options. We can open this in the web browser, then you should have the internet, or you can give two options, maybe in the browser as well as the mobile app, which I have demonstrated here. And or directly in the mobile app. Some advanced surveys, actually, we have to use this option. And offline data collections, we have to use this option because the mobile app can store that type of form. The web browser option we use only for direct data collections. Then we have another option here about the sharing. So if you share with everyone, we can say public. If you want to share with everyone. But if you having a large number of logins, you can control that members inside the organization only. Then others can't access. Only the users within this organization can access. Right. So like that way we can save the edits. And also there are many other settings. Here even you can open this questionnaire maybe and closed in a particular time. Open and closing, maybe you can have maybe limited time you can open and close this question, or you can schedule. There are different options. Then I have allowed the multiple submissions, otherwise only single submissions will be done. And also only add new records. Sometimes we can give add and update records. That means certain forms can be updated again and again. In this case, I will try only add records. We need to get the records, but we don't need to alter any records by another person. So likewise, there are settings. And also there are some other sharing, result sharing settings are there. Likewise, there are different settings. But in this case, we will only use this. So I would like to share this form with you. Maybe thinking you all as my field work team, field workforce, I just shared the form with you. So before sharing, I always check. Sometimes using another web browser, I'm normally checking whether it is properly shared, right? That thing we have to check. So now I can see the questionnaire, and you can also fill some information. So I will still fill some details like this. Any place, right? I will just choose my place, right? Some requirements, water, wood, number of people, 10. So GPS coordinate, I think you can check if your browser has not blocked your location, you will be able to access this, right? Sometimes your browsers locking the GPS connectivity, then we have to release this to get this, right? Then details, you can type anything. I will say so. Then photo you can add, right? So this case, if you allow for the browser, it will detect some kind of photo here. So I will just capture my photo, right? I don't know. It will look like an IDP, but anyway, I have added that. So we have moderate requirement and also kind of a signature. So I'm going to submit this. So similarly, you can submit some details, maybe fake details, right? Just to understand the capability. I have submitted that detail. Right, okay. So immediately I will go back to my design page, right? Design page. I'm clicking on another page called data. Or even you can click on this overview, right? Overview. I think just my record. You can also submit something and see. You can put any kind of a location. May not need to put your own location. You can just take your map here and there and put something, and then it will have these information like this way, right? So when I go to the data tab, so it will display my details in the map. So this is called a feature service. When I click on it, it will list down my information and also the photo which I have attached. So centralized, it is collecting information now, right? So you can also try and see whether you can enter some details, right? Okay, so that is the method of having a web form. So the limited time, we can't show you all the features in Survey123, but I would like to show you some details about this advanced option. This is called Survey123 Connect. Right. This option, you will have this type of software, small software. We have to download few megabytes. Then we have to click on New Survey. Then we will find something like this, a page, and also Excel sheet. When you update the Excel sheet, this one will update. So let's see. Okay, can you see this page, New Survey?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So we will use this advanced template and create a new survey. So I have just clicked on this new survey. That's why it has given me that template. So it is creating a folder inside my PC. It is having some configuration details, and also it is creating a spreadsheet kind of application. Okay. So while it is loading, I will go back to my slides. Okay. So one by one, we can add questions. There are different types. So here in this Excel, we have to define the types like text, integer, decimal. Likewise, we have to define the type of our data. Then name and also the label, right? Name and the label. Then we can do certain other things like images, signature. So there are different types for those questions, but we are only using the Excel sheet. And for GPS coordinate, there is a question type called geopoint for point features. line, there's one called geotrace. Likewise, there are geometry types we can add into the question. Let's see. So now you can see the Survey123 Connect. So it is, by default, it is having two questions, right? So the same time, I think I can't share the whole desktop here. Yes. So I will share that form again, the Excel sheet. So here we can have a drop down. We can select the data type, name. So I can say name here, a label. And if you don't need this one, you can remove it. Then imagine you need to get another question, integer. Here, I use just a simple name for the field, but label, we can use the descriptive name. Then maybe a date type of question, right? Maybe a image, that means photo. So you can have more than that. And there are different options. There are several types of questions. I will select geo point, GPS location. So better to put an underscore here. Like this way, right? Okay. So after doing these questions, so there are several tabs actually. There are several multi operations in this Excel. It's not just a single Excel. We can have a choice list. So the selectors. So if you have a multiple choice question, so like this, we will say select list name. So here there's a choice called yes, no. So we can call this from the survey. Without having the list name, we can say select one from yes, no. Here we can say put AV food availability, likewise. So here we can see yes, no. There are two answers, yes and no will be called to this choice, right? It's like that. So after doing certain things, we can save this sheet. In the background, so I will go back to my Connect software. Okay, I hope you can see it has refreshed, right? It has refreshed according to, so if I have some kind of a wrong value, we can change it again. Number of people, I think photo, I have some mistake. Then GPS is there. And food availability, you can see yes and no. So after creating the form, there are so many settings here. You can actually configure the map, right? Maybe they configure the map, this home button into a proper location. So we have to configure it first. You can have different background map. And also, if you have your already created maps, web maps, there's an option to link them without having the default map, right? So there are so many settings here. You can try the offline options and also certain things related. Even there are options for having certain codings, right? So after doing everything, what we have to do, we have to publish into the centralized web environment, Arcgis Online or Arcgis Enterprise, then only it will work. So this is very simple thing. So I will open this questionnaire. So we'll try just to show you something. Right. Okay. So here, sometimes certain things like selections, we have to have, just I have done that, multiple single choice question. You may have several options for selecting the choices. Like this example, gender. So male, female, the choice should be called here. The name of the list name. List will be called here. Not only this type of internal list, imagine your list is changing frequently. So maybe number of officers, branch officers or something like that, or the kind of different thing. Actually, then you can have a dynamic list, a list stored in a separate place and calling to the question. Then again, the multiple choices, similarly, even that question, I had some photos in that dengue application, dengue field app. So the photos can be configured here. And then the calculations, sometimes I mentioned that question with the calculation. Here, this is the formula. It's a very simple formula. Dollar with the dollar mark, first column plus second column plus third column plus fourth column. 4 columns taking the total here. So we can add formulas. There are conditions, calculations available as different columns in the Excel. So the correct one, we have to put the formula. Then the form will act like this. Right. Then again, when it comes to a kind of a hidden question, it will be like this. Maybe we are having 2 questions. First question, we have to select. Yes, here label, we can see water. Then the second question is generally hidden. The hidden is configured like this way. Dollar value, then the column name, and equal 1. Equal 1 means if you have 2 like this, 1 and 2. So here it's like a condition. If you said yes for this first question, that means we are saying number 1 is okay. Then the second question is appearing based on this number 1. If it is number 2, it is not appearing. So there's a small formula. You can always find out these formulas in the web. There's a very strong help documentation in Survey123. Even with YouTube videos, anyone can learn it from their own. Right? Right. Okay. Then So those are some basic options. So just give me a second. Okay, I will share this again, the Survey123 Connect, this form, which I have demonstrated earlier. So there's a folder here, and you can open the Excel sheet also, right? This folder, I will show you the folder and also the Excel sheet. So this is the folder. Inside you can see some configuration files and also the media folder. So normally we are keeping these photos in this media folder. When it is publishing, it is easy. Then there's an Excel sheet saved in the particular form. So when you open that sheet, so I will open that one. Here you can see this complex form, right? It's a little complex one. So the same things we have done, but we have added some HTML codings and some custom colors, and also to give some more interactive feeling, some singular words. And also then you can find out the questions built in this Excel form, like this way. So you can see certain formulas, filters. Then this is the whole thing, right? This is the whole thing, right? Okay. So let's see. Okay. Okay, I think when I check this again, four of you have submitted forms. I don't know. Let's see. So if all of you have done, yes, your data. Yes, some of you have submitted the form, then I can see the information. So this information can be used in a monitoring dashboard to monitor this thing in a real-time environment. So I will try to show you some applications of our users. Then you will find out this detail. Right. So I will go back to the slides. So there are advanced options, not just having these questions. So one option is you can have multiple pages, right? Multiple pages. You can have more complex questionnaires with multiple pages, and one by one after another, you can submit the form. That's one option. So then it will have more professional look for the questionnaire. Then maybe some kind of different formats. Maybe not like just a form, maybe just as a paper. So in this way, we are using grids. There's a command called grids. Then using those grids, we can have this similar thing like a paper. Some questionnaires, when we are actually day-to-day practicing a questionnaire, we always want that similar pattern, the similar format. Like this way, there are options of designing forms. Then some kind of automations. Automations, there's an option called webhooks, where we can do something like this. When survey is submitted, we can automatically send an SMS or maybe automatically send an email to notify certain people. That kind of things can be configured. There are platforms like Microsoft Power Automate, Introgromate. Likewise, there are some platforms to do such work. Then when you submit, when you complete and submit a form, it will immediately trigger an email to a particular place, maybe a SMS. So those things are common things. Finally, I would like to give some application side. So there are plenty of applications, especially for damage assessment. This is very effective tool because the reason is in a disaster situation, we don't have much time. So similar questionnaires can be developed from the scratch using web programming languages. Very sophisticated one can be developed. But a GIS person may not have that programming knowledge. But even though he can quickly develop and deploy application to collect data. So that is an advantage. So this is one of the case studies, a kind of a storm damage assessment operation. And this is another one, 60,000 surveys they have collected in Iraq related to polio vaccine, the vaccination type of project. So they have mapped this campaign. When they mapped the campaign only, they identified certain gaps. So when you look at the data in GIS way, you can identify the gaps and fill that gaps. So this forms has been used in a particular time period like 2016 for this particular case study. Then the different things like accident reporting, kind of the drunken drivers, driving related issues, recording this particular scenario. So these things are available in the web for more readings, some important links. And finally, it is good to monitor these data collections without just having the forms. We can have something called dashboards to monitor. I think the next session we will discuss about the dashboards. So there are a few dashboards. So one now in the right hand, the left hand side, John Hopkins University. So the automated data and as well as the semi-automated data, manual data can be represented in a dashboard after collecting that information. Right. So there are some resources I would like to share you. So this is kind of an open form. So I would like to share these resources. You can check these things, right? And also, finally, I would like to show you some of our users. And also you can ask questions, right? Yes, you can ask questions, then I can give more answers for you, right? So this is one of our user sites, one of our user who have done this survey forms. So they have some information in the field level. They are deploying several projects, the kind of rural projects. So that kind of information, it's not easy to identify. So these points, you can see red color points. So in the field level, they have collected information from this technology. So other than that, Irrigation Department, NBRO, and also the Central Environmental Authority, they are using this technology for collecting information. So there are users in Sri Lanka who are using and collecting large amount of data. Right. So if you have any questions, you can ask now, and I can answer certain things. I think it will be useful for you. And also I would like to mention another organization. I think the Central Environment Authority, they are having a project called the Surakamuganga. This one actually, they have created everything from their own by self-studying this particular application. Actually, they had the challenge to collect information from the field within like 2-3 weeks, I think. They have collected like 10,000 points using their field officers around the country. So you can see it's a wonderful application actually. Through the river basins, the rivers, you can see the different pollution related survey. So this is interactive dashboard of that with a lot of parameters, very complex one, but it's wonderful application when it comes to survey forms because within 2-3 weeks they have collected this much of data by deploying forms. Right. Okay, I think there are some questions. Let's see. Yes, normally the Survey123, the trial version, they ask, the question is about the trial versions. Can we use this trial surveys to collect more than 21 day data collection? So normally if you are using a trial, actually it is only limited for 21 days. But normally Arcgis online accounts are given in different ways, like annual subscriptions or 3-year subscriptions. Likewise, there are methods of giving the Arcgis online accounts. So based on the organizations, whether it is a conservation related organization, whether it is a commercial organization, or maybe an educational institute, depending on that, there are different level of prices for those things, right? There's a question, what is the easiest way of way to make a survey form? So actually the web form is the easy method. You can just drag and quickly create the form. If it is a simple questionnaire, right? If it is a very simple one, the web form is the best option. Quickly you can deploy that. But if the questionnaire is having very complex things like multiple choices, filtered together and formulas to control data, then we have to go to the advanced option. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so what I want to highlight here, so these techniques we are using based on the requirements of our customers or the organizations. So first thing is to identify the requirement. So if there's a requirement of collecting data like this way, then we can apply this technology. So first thing is to identify that. Then for questionnaire, maybe we have to check whether it is simple one or very complex one. So based on that, we have to use the technology. And also always think about the practical side. Sometimes in Sri Lanka, most of the places, sometimes the connectivity is slow, internet connectivity is slow. Sometimes if we try to use a web form, then it may not load in certain places. But nowadays we have better connectivity in every place of the country, but certain areas there are issues. Then we have to think about offline survey forms. The Survey123 can handle offline forms and collect data within the device. And even offline base maps can be given. There's a technique called map packages. We can store the offline map inside the device and take it in the field. So like a forest area, maybe that option will be good because the internet connectivity will be not there, right? So the practical side we need to think about. Even these technologies, we started initially like 2015-16 time when the Survey123 was initially introduced by S3. For that time, we didn't implement this because even something has introduced from a different country, we have to check whether it is applicable for our conditions. So then only we try to start demonstration of these things. So we demonstrated for the special organizations in the country, like Census Department. Actually, they have given kind of a paper questionnaire for us, like a labor force survey, huge questionnaire. They asked us just to try this one. We tried that one and we learned Survey123 very well, but all the questions, the structures we couldn't model at that time. So we demonstrated what we have done. We couldn't implement that in that organization, but that idea, whole process, we have learned a lot. Then only we went through several organizations, and after that today, we can find a lot of several organizations, prominent organizations in Sri Lanka, they have applied this in the real context. So before applying any technology, we have to think about that practical side and we have to test it. Like you are doing a pilot survey. Before a questionnaire, you have to do a pilot survey and check whether the answers are getting okay or the correct. So same thing, the theories, the concepts are valid here. You have to check those things. Even the technology, whether there are issues, whether there are errors in the questions, how to get the support. So we have to think about those aspects to have a proper survey forms. And sometimes I have seen a lot of pictures try to be collected in the field. Then what will happen? You need a large amount of data to upload that. It is not because of the survey form. When you attach several pictures, then it will take time. So there are ways of minimizing those things. And also there are QR code scanning, there are new things, and also laser kind of range finders configured to survey forms. I have seen different customizations, even JavaScript based development related customizations I have seen. So those things can be applied based on the requirement of the customer, the requirement of an organization. So always think from the customer's perspective and try to do these things. And also as students, you can try these things. Even today, these days, I think you are having difficulties of doing your data collections. Maybe you can try and see whether you can collect proper information. But before that, always test the application, test it in your own environment and verify the data, how it is receiving to you. Then you should implement the application. So that should be the mechanism. That should be the I want to give that particular message for you to have very good survey forms for data collection work. Okay. Right. So with that, I think we have discussed a lot today regarding Survey123. It might be a new technology for you. Maybe you have used similar things, but since these things are connected together, when you collect survey data from the app, immediately you can analyze that from the applications like Arcgis Pro. So that means everything is connected. Using the Pro, you can actually get the hotspot analysis or whatever this analysis using those collected information. So without copying here and there, it can access the same data from the web portal and do those analysis. So that is the kind of architecture behind this particular platform. Okay, with that, I would like to thank you. I think there are no more questions. So I think the recordings, somebody asked about the recordings. I think we are willing to share anything. So when people learn, they can use that properly. So that is the concept we are having. So then thank you. Thank you very much for participating today. And I would also like to thank you, University, for organizing this session today. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge with us. So with that, we'll wrap up the session. Please note that tomorrow we have our last session at 1 o'clock. I hope you will join with us. With that, so I'm saying goodbye. Thank you all.
Thank you.